Hi folks, it's Dr. Rowe with Colin here. We have 7 minutes to do another video. These are our 7-minute wonder videos. Now, we've got Colin on site and he really wanted to tackle something with regards to looking at the existing space of maybe an outbuilding, for example. Col, I think you've got 4 things you want to talk to us about. Let's jump straight in. We've only got 7 minutes to do this. Yep. Talk to us about making the best out of space.
Yeah, I suppose, we've all got potentially outbuildings on our sites, right? So actually, they're not always being used really for what you actually could use it for. So if you have that hindsight and that ability to actually look at what you could do, we've got a project potentially that you could convert into a really nice space, right? And this could be a space that could be a workshop, could be a studio, it could be an annex, it could be sleeping accommodation, it could be something you could rent out. There's all of these opportunities there.
So the first step is just to simply review, just pause, look at it and start to think about what you might want to have. Imagine if we could do this.
Yeah, some people don't realise actually what they've got in the spaces they've got. So where I am at the moment in this garage, this was just used as a store for about 25 years.
Yeah,
that's all they've used it for. And actually, it just becomes a pile ground of rubbish and old things that they've kind of used. And I've actually built a shed just over here to house all of the stuff that was in this very large garage.
Nice,
because it allows you to declutter. And actually, now we can convert this space to something really useful.
All right, so in the case of the current space, I can see you've kind of gone that way, you've gone out. Is that something they need to be considering? Can I type that in? Like, is the first thing to review, like, can I go out, for example?
Yeah, so it's not only looking at what you've got, it's what can you do to add to it. So I could actually quite easily convert the space that I've got here as a garage, which I'll just show you here, right? So you can see the garage.
And you're doing well, by the way. 5 minutes, you're doing really well. Still got 5 minutes left. Great stuff.
That's the garage there, right? So I could easily convert just the garage, but why not extend and use more of the space that's out the front? Because I've now taken something that's around 20 square meters into 40, 45.
And that's huge. I mean, I mean, in terms of people ever looking at the future or even livable space now, it's great. I mean, it just gives people a hangout place, a bedroom. I think you've got other ideas for it as well.
It's got multiple uses, and I think that where we're the economy is changing, the way we're working is changing, right? So home offices, things like that. This is what people are going to be looking for when they're actually moving and buying houses. This is actually going to be a big part of people's shopping list when they're going looking. So by adding this, not only can we use it for what we want, in fact, future-proofing, it's actually even more saleable.
Okay, so review. What do I want? First question, we've got 4 minutes and 7 seconds left. Can I go out? What other ways can we go if we're looking at a property like that?
Well, you can always go up, can't you?
Right? Okay, good one. Right, you keep talking. I'm going to type that in.
You're not limited to just sticking at ground floor. Where I am, it's very difficult to go up, okay? But what can we do inside the building? Well, actually, how many people have roof spaces made of trusses that actually isn't used and it's almost dead space? You go up there, there's just installation sitting there.
Can you show us that? Okay, you got it. Great. Okay.
I'm just going to move my camera up, right?
So, yeah, I can see that. And how often, those of you watching, how often have you thought, oh yeah, we're just dumping stuff in the top of the garage? That's a huge space. Huge.
It's massive.
So in this case, how are you going to do that? You're going to kind of open up, create. It's not just going to be a hatch. It's an actual livable or workable or usable space, I should say. Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to create vaulted ceilings in here. So it's not going to be another floor, but it's going to be vaulted ceilings.
Ah, okay. Yes.
If you look at how these joists are coming across. It's not a huge floor to ceiling height. And
so you're going to move from this this feeling to that.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And we'll be taking the pitch right up to the top. Can you see there how high it could go?
Yeah.
And that's just restructuring the timber work.
What a lovely feeling that's going to have when you go into it. And you can wear your hoodie and you won't bang your head and stuff.
Yeah, well, this is it. It's all about quality of living, right? At the end of the day, if we design these things in the right way, we can add value by doing the simplest things, right? We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. The structure's already there. I just need to introduce some more structure with my engineer, have building control sign it off, but then I've got a really nice double, almost like 1.5 times height space, which allows much more pleasant place to sit.
Which in modern houses you don't get so much now, that feeling of a vaulted space.
We get so cramped in, modern design and developments and everything, they're actually quite small. There's a development near me, we was looking at a house around there some years ago, and honestly, a double room, you couldn't swing a cat, you couldn't get around the bed, but that's actually what the design standards are going for.
Your kids are going to love this. Right, we
I
got
know.
exactly
Well,
1 minute and 58 seconds. And something you talked to me about before, and I've seen you do it in other properties, is like, are there protrusions inside the room? Is there like a, I don't know, a chimney stack or whatever? That, because that, you know, removing that can often make a room feel a lot bigger. Would that
yeah.
be, is that something we can add and talk about here?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, I don't have a chimney breast in this particular
Right.
garage conversion to make space, but I'm actually
Remove.
working on a project for a client at the moment where there's like 4 chimney breasts, right? So we're converting the property there, and we actually are making about 1.5 square meters of extra space per room that they're sitting in. That's how big these things are,
Yeah.
right? And we're not using fireplaces anymore the way we used
That's
to, especially
crazy.
with the
And it's not just the space, it's the visual effect of having it completely straight down to the ground. In a resale, from a resale perspective, if that area is valued at £4,000-5,000 per square meter, whatever, that's potentially going to increase the value of the house as
Well,
well.
I did a project in London, right? It was in Hammersmith, and they were priced at something ridiculous, £900 a square foot. So we took out 2 chimney breasts and made them, I think it was an extra sort of 15 square feet, which
Oh my
is
gosh.
like
10 grand's worth. Oh my gosh. So Cole, we've got
grand.
44 seconds left. Anything else you just want to wrap up on this point, maybe just for people thinking about doing this?
Yeah, so really just look at what you've got, right? Because at the end of the day, you've got something that you could possibly use. How can you create something new, create something valuable to you? And what can you do design-wise to add extra value, right? Just by looking at what you have. Exactly what I've done here. And if you did that and looked at some of the, maybe some outbuildings or garage that you've actually already got, do think about adding the value by converting it into something much more useful.
Oh man, you're doing it on time. And these things are a lot more cost effective than trying to build off the ground, which is another conversation for another day. Colin, you nailed it again, man. Thanks so much. We better sign out.
See you then.